It's time for Fluent and Chill. I'm Anthony K of Sports Fluent. I'm here with my main man, Jermaine. J-Dub, how you doing, man?
What's up, brother? It's football season. We're in the middle of it. It's getting thick now. It's getting serious.
You know, one, subscribe because you don't want to miss these episodes because we talk a lot of good stuff today. Today, we're going to go through the slate of games like we always do. I've been checking out our record, by the way. We're doing pretty good. Two, we're going to talk about the playoff bubble. 7 teams get in. That started last year. And who's in, who's going to be out. We're going to break that down. Tuesday is the trade deadline. Now, it's not like any other sports like the NBA where there's a flurry of trades at the trade deadline, but we'll see. Do we think there's anyone that'll actually get traded? But let's start off with the king. The king. I will call him the king. They call him King Henry. But when you are, I don't know if you know this, if you keep his team, if you keep Tennessee, if you keep the Titans in the mix, he is number 8 in terms of team rushing. So there's only 7 other complete teams
Not players.
Not players. Teams that have run for more yards than Derrick Henry. And think about this, if you take his yards away from Tennessee, right, because obviously that's a big chunk of their yards, there's actually only 7 teams. So I'm going to break down the list for you. Let's see if I have it handy, because it's so interesting to me that how one person, I don't know. Well, let's start with, while I pull up the list. You tell me your thoughts on Derrick Henry.
Well, first of all, Tone, I'm giddy when we talk about Derrick Henry. And the reason why, because I'm such a huge fan of the workhorse back. I personally thought the workhorse back was gone, because now we got running backs that split time. Not only do we have running backs that split time, these guys don't stick around anymore. So when you and I were coming up, we were used to Walter Payton's going to run for this team for 10 years. Emmitt Smith's going to run for the Cowboys for 10, 12 years. Eddie George is going to run for Tennessee, Houston, and then Tennessee for 10 years. Now that guy, Adrian Peterson, but that guy is gone now because you got guys splitting carries. Not to mention, we're in an aerial attack league now. Guys are averaging 45, 50 throws a game. So where is the guy who's running the football 20, 25 times a game? Well, head down to Nashville. His name is Derrick Henry. He runs the ball 20 to 25 times a game, and he is the workhorse back. I love everything about Derrick Henry.
And they win games. And they win.
On top of that.
Let me put this out there, because I put this out onto social media when I found this out. So, that's because they don't throw the ball. And I'm not saying they throw the ball a lot, but Ryan Tannehill is 13th in the league in passing. So it's not like they don't. There's 32 teams. So he's kind of middle of the pack. So it's not like they don't throw the ball at all. He's still 13th. So let me run it down. I found it. So the Browns are number 1 with 1193. Keep in mind they have 2 start now, before Nick Chubb got hurt and Kareem Hunt. They have 2 starting running backs.
Kareem Hunt is a starter.
Let's be honest. On any other team, Kareem Hunt is starting. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then number 2 obviously is the Titans, and we know why. Then we've got the Ravens, which have a quarterback who I believe is 6th or 7th in the league in rushing. We should talk about him maybe next week. Then you got the Cowboys at 986, who have, again, Ezekiel Elliott, and if he's not a number 2, he's like a 1B in Tony Pollard, right? So they've got
starter too. He's a starter too.
They've got two good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you got the Cardinals, the Bears, who really started to push the run when Justin Fields started, when Bill Lazor took over play calling, and then obviously switched back to Nagy, and we saw what happened, but that's a conversation for another day. Then you got the Colts at 893, and then number 8, Derrick Henry at 869. Then you got Washington, Kansas City.
Well,
so let's put it into perspective. There's 25 teams out of a 32 team league that have rushed for less yards than this one man.
Then it's one dude. And to add that to the fact, Tone, he's on pace right now. If he continues to go where he's going, he's on pace for his 2nd in a row 2,000-yard season. And he's also on pace to break LaDainian Tomlinson's touchdown record. So if he breaks LaDainian Tomlinson's touchdown record of 28 touchdowns and runs for 2 stacks, are we looking at the league MVP?
I was going to ask you, how can we not be the league MVP?
Well,
How
I'll
can
tell
he
you
not be
what.
the I understand it's a quarterback driven league and it's really hard for non-quarterbacks to win the MVP, but I think in this case, because not only is he rushing like we've never seen before, we're also talking about his team's winning and
Absolutely.
they're beating good teams. They're beating the
Absolutely.
Bills, they're beating the Chiefs. Like
Yes, they are.
they're a Super Bowl contender because of his rushing.
I think we overlooked them primarily because of Ryan Tannehill. I think
Yeah.
that was the problem. And I also think that we underrated them because of their offensive line. I think that offensive line is dominant. I don't think that their offensive line is good. They move the needle and they definitely move people. That's why Derrick Henry is so good. That's why when he hits the A gap, that's why when he's downfield, he's so good. I see those cornerbacks. It's so funny, Tone, because I see him get into the secondary and I see that 5'10 cornerback when he's coming downhill. He does not want to tackle Derrick Henry. He doesn't want anything to do with him, man. No. No,
So
I do not, man.
So if he keeps it up, I think they need to seriously consider. Like I get it, but I think they need to. I think he. I'll just put it out there. Derrick Henry's today. Derrick Henry's the MVP of the league.
Well, let me ask you this question, Tone. When you talk about the league MVP, what kind of context do you put it in? Do you put it in the same context with the NBA? Is it, or do you have to be one of the better teams in the game? Because I look at Tennessee. Tennessee is in first place in the AFC. So what are they, third? They first in the AFC South. I think they're third in the AFC overall. So we're talking about a top three team. We're talking about clearly the best rusher in the game, arguably the best player in the game. So I'm the best player on one of the top three teams because that's usually what it is in pro basketball. So what's the criteria here?
Yeah, for me, it's all of that you just mentioned. Is he the most valuable piece on a team that is winning?
Right.
Now they're the third seed, but they're in terms of record, they're tied. They're 5-2. They're tied for the best record in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. There's tiebreak. If you take the tiebreakers out, they're tied for first, right? Like I said, they've beat the teams that we thought going in. You and I both said Chargers, Chiefs, Bills. Those were the class of the AFC.
Correct.
They've beat two of those teams. So they've got the best record in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
They've beaten the teams that we thought were going to be the class of the AFC. Clearly, it's not because, and I'm not knocking the defense or Ryan Tannehill, but he is if you take Derrick Henry off that team, what are they?
They're Jacksonville. They're
Jacksonville. So yeah, he's my MVP. So I'm putting it out there. Derrick Henry is the MVP of the NFL. I want to ask one bigger question now, because I know he's got a few years left, but let's say he finishes this season 2,000 rushing yards, breaks the record for touchdowns. Where is he all time?
It's interesting you mentioned that, Tone, because to rush for 2,000 yards in back-to-back seasons and to break the Danian Tomlinson single season touchdown record. So we're talking about over 4,000 yards in 2 seasons and 30 touchdowns. The kind of running back that he is, I think he's in year 6 right now. I think he's in year 5 or 6. If he could continue this, because running backs don't really last that long. He's an anomaly.
Right,
running backs usually last about 3 years. If he could continue this and at this pace, I'm not going to say 2,000 yards, Tone, but if he could give me another 1,300 yard season for 2 or 3 more years, and then he ends up in the top 10, top 5 all time in rushing. Because let's be clear about one thing. You and I talked about records yesterday. There's a record that's never going to be broken. We're never going to see Emmitt Smith record broken because we're not going to see a guy that's going to run for 15, 16 years. We're not going to see that. So if he could give me another 3, 4 seasons at about 1,200 yards a season, 1,300, Tone, we have to have that conversation about him because he's an all-purpose back. He's not just a running back. He catches in the flat. All right, they have him lined up as a wide receiver. He's not just a running back.
Right.
People
know him. People think of him as this kind of power, even though he's fat. Like he's super fast, but people think of him as this power back. We joke about I don't want to get tackled by him because he's a big dude. Right. Right. It's hard.
Right.
But at the same time, he does receive. You're right. He does split out wide. Heck, he said MVPs are quarterbacks. He threw in a touchdown. He's doing everything.
He had a 126 QBR last week.
I'd love my team to have a QBR like that. So yeah, I think it does. And let's think about it. The number you're throwing out there, that 1,300 yards, I hate to say it, that it's not tough because it's tough, but it's not it's not even 100 yards a game, right? Like 1,200 yards now in a 17 game season is what, like 80 yards?
Yes.
So it's very achievable.
Right.
So there's no reason why I think today if he retired, I would have a legit argument to put him in the top 10 just because of what he's done. Even, he's like one of those Gale Sayers. Like if he were to just walk away,
Right.
now in Gale Sayers' example, he got hurt, but he
Right.
was so good for that short period of time. You
Right.
have to put him in the conversation.
Right.
If to your point, if there's some longevity there, I have, now does he surpass, Brown, Peyton, Sanders? That's going to need longevity. But does he knock off, OJ Simpson, LaDainian Tomlinson, like some
Eric
of those guys,
Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson?
Right.
Maybe
We
if
have
he
to
adds
have that
longevity to
conversation.
it.
We have to have that conversation. Sure, we do, Tone. Yes, we do.
All right. Well, we know they're pretty deep in. I think Tennessee's going to make the playoffs. They're 5-2, like we said. They're the third seed. They have the best record, tied for the best record in the AFC. So here's the breakdown, and it's actually kind of scary when you think about it, because the top team at 5-2, and you can go down to team number 12, is only 2 games back at 3-4.
Right.
So there's actually 12 teams now. Then you got 4 teams at 1-5, and 2 at 1-5, 2 at 1-6. So we can safely say the Jets, the Jags, the Dolphins, the Texans are out.
Bye.
Now, I think we safely said that before the season started, but now it's mathematically we can say that.
Y'all just made it official now.
Yeah, it's just they just did what they are who we thought we were, to steal a line from Dennis Green.
Correct.
So you've got at the top of the list, you got the Bengals. Wow. The Raiders, the Titans, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chargers. We knew those guys. The Browns currently hold the number 7 spot. Then you got Pittsburgh at 3-3, the Patriots at 3-4, the Colts at 3-4, the surprising or disappointing, I guess, Chiefs at 3-4, and the Broncos at 3-4. Do you see Cleveland hanging on to that 7th spot? Do you see them moving up or moving down?
I'm going on record, Tone. October 28th, 2021, Kansas City not making the playoffs.
Oh, you jumped right down to Kansas City. Kansas City's not making the playoffs.
Kansas City not making the playoffs this year. I'm going to start there. Cleveland, on the other hand.
Wow. Okay.
Why is Baker even in the lineup? He's first of all, he's got a broken shoulder completely. He's got a torn labrum and a crack in his shoulder. And now he's trying to sell us that it's a real good possibility that I'm going to play this Sunday. I can appreciate he's in a contract year, Tone. So he's basically trying to save his job, which I can appreciate.
I understand. Of course. A job he shouldn't have.
Here we go. I already know how you feel about him. He's trying to save his job. Now, with that being said, Case Keenum, they were more effective with him in the lineup, and they just looked better. They just looked more. Now, when you get the new quarterback in the lineup, Tone, usually that happens. When you get a new quarterback in the lineup, the offense changes. The offense is tailored around that guy, so it looks a little bit different.
But the offense, let me just say this with Case Keenum. Let me jump in and say they didn't change the game plan. Case Keenum came in and they ran the same stuff that they run with Baker. It's Case Keenum's not a different. It's not like in some cases where you have Lamar Jackson and then I don't know, Joe Flacco. Well, okay, now these are 2 completely different style quarterbacks. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying, Tone. Because usually when that happens, when you change the quarterback, they do change it up. They didn't do that. They didn't do that.
They didn't have to. Yeah.
They didn't do that with Case Keenum. They were running the same thing, and not only were they running the same thing, it worked, and it just looked more fluent. In the words of my man Tony Tone right here, it just looked more fluent. Now, Cleveland, I don't think that they're gonna fall because Baker is out the lineup. I think that injuries wrecked them.
Yeah.
Losing Chubb, losing Hunt. I've said this to you, Tone, from the beginning of the season. I've never liked this ODB Baker Mayfield tandem. It just doesn't work. It's just not working. And I think it's time that we moved on from those 2. Now, does that mean Baker has to go?
So let me ask you, do you think if you have, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions all kind of in one and you can pick. So do you think if Hunt, Chubb, now we know Landry's back, ODB, if they're all healthy and Case Keenum's the quarterback, do you think there's a drop-off from having Baker a quarterback?
Well, Case Keenum did take Minnesota to the NFC Championship game in 19. So it's not like he's trash. You know, he did take that Minnesota team to the NFC Championship. So he's a starter in the league. So I don't know if there's a huge drop off. I don't know if Baker's better than him by miles. But what I can say is I do think that they're competitive. I don't think that if Baker's out of the lineup, they suck. No, I do not think that at all.
Do you think he will have a better chemistry with Odell Keenum?
It looked like he did last week. It just
I guess we'll see this week because I think Keenum's going to start. I know that Baker's saying he's not playing. They're not going to risk his entire career for one game. He's going to play. Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm just in a bulk. Do you see the Bengals, the Raiders, the Titans, the Bills, Baltimore, or the Chargers falling out of the playoffs?
No, I don't.
Okay. Mm-mm. So now then you have one spot that is currently held by Cleveland. So who gets that one spot? Cleveland, Pittsburgh, the Patriots, the Colts, the Chiefs, or the Broncos?
I know that the Chiefs are right behind Cleveland, and Cleveland is beat up. I just don't like what I see from Kansas City. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I just don't. Cleveland, I think they can hold on to that 7th spot. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots, with what Bill Belichick is doing with that offense, and the 3 teams that they've beaten so far, they beat the Jets twice and they beat Houston. So, I mean, give me a break. However, I know how you feel about that, Tone. You play who's in front of you. Absolutely.
Who's in front of you.
You play who's in front of you. However, I'm having a difficult time with the Patriots jumping the Chiefs. Even though I don't think the Chiefs are making the playoffs, I think Cleveland holds on to that spot.
All right. Well, I don't believe in the Browns. So the Browns will find a way to lose that spot. And you've said that the Chiefs are. You're putting it out there that the Chiefs. You said the Chiefs are not making the playoffs.
October 28, 2021. I don't have Kansas City making the playoffs. I don't. I think they're out.
The Chiefs will make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Not only will they make the playoffs, whatever team right now they're currently facing would be facing the Raiders when they move into that 7th spot. They'll also win the first round of the playoffs. October 28th. October 28th, whatever the heck time it is. Mm-hmm. I'm saying the Chiefs will make it. So now let's move to the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Our conference.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's safe to say the Cardinals are in.
Yes.
At 7-0. I would take a collapse of biblical proportions for them to be out.
Proportion for them to
I would say the Detroit Lions are out.
I think they're out. Yeah.
I think they're out.
I think we can take them off the board.
Okay. So here's the thing. We're more top heavy in the NFC because we've got 7-0 cards. Man, the NFC. Would I just run through these teams?
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems like the NFC is the conference right now, right?
Yes.
You've got the Cardinals at 7-0, the Bucks, the defending champs, Bucks at 6-1, the Packers who will lose in the NFC Championship game at 6-1
in Lambeau Field, by the way, not just lose in Lambeau Field. They're going to lose.
Dallas at 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams at 6-1. Your top 5 teams have 4 losses.
Are all separated by one game.
One game.
That's it.
Then there's the drop off, right? So these are the ones we're actually talking about. We got the Saints at 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings hold the number 7 spot at 3-3. Atlanta's at 3-3. That's actually a surprise. And then you got my Bears at 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers. How did they start 3-0 and now they're 3-4?
Trash, Tom.
That's terrible.
Absolute trash. Absolutely.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. Your Niners are at 2-4.
We're not making the playoffs neither.
You're not making the playoffs?
No, okay. We're not making the playoffs.
So then I'm going to cut off Washington, Philadelphia, unless you think one of those teams can make a run. Seattle at 2-5. They're out, right? They're out.
Losing Russ for as long as they've lost, that wrecked them.
Okay, so basically we're going to go with 4 teams. Let's be honest. No one's catching those top 5, right? They're good.
Unless we have some sort of setbacks on where somebody gets hurt.
Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't see those top 5 teams. Yeah. I think
they're good. So do you think the Saints fall out of the playoff?
No, I don't. I think that they're going to be solid. I like what they're doing. I can see the Saints winning 11. I can see them winning 11 games. Yes.
I'm with you. It's going to be the wild card, obviously, because when you're unfortunately now that you're in a division with Tom Brady and the Bucks, wild card is what you're going for.
And they beat them twice last year too, Tone. Remember that.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now So we're gonna go. Here's the 4 teams that are in contention. Then it's the Vikings, the Falcons, the Bears, and the Panthers. I think the Panthers are done. Personally, do you think they can make a turn it around again
It's
and get
really difficult
and make a play?
It's difficult for me to get behind the Carolina Panthers, Tone, particularly because of Sam Darnold. I dig Sam Darnold, right? But the way he's playing right now, he just doesn't look comfortable. That offense just looks stagnant. And losing Christian McCaffrey for as long as they've lost him for, that's been huge for them because that's their main offensive weapon. So that's a guy that they don't have. That's offense that's taken off the board from them. So now you're asking Sam Darnold to do more. The reason why he was as good as he was early was because of having Christian McCaffrey.
Of course.
Well, now you don't have him, and now he's got to do more, and you're putting him in bad situations. Now, we're talking about Minnesota. Tone, I'll tell you what, man, as much as I love Jefferson, I just don't trust Kirk Cousins, and I don't trust him in big-time moments. He's proven to me plenty of times that when the lights get brighter,
trust issues.
Yes. How you feel about Baker? That's how I feel about Cousins, to be honest with you, Tone. The minute you tell me that Minnesota got a shot, I'm like, I'm out. And the reason why I'm out is for one reason and one reason only. That's Kirk Cousins. Because I know that at some point he's going to fold. Him in particular, he's going to fold. So Minnesota, who else am I looking at? I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm looking at
Minnesota, Atlanta, Chicago, Carolina are the 3 teams with 3 wins. Then you got San Francisco, Washington, Philly with 2.
You know who? Maddie Ice is that girl that just won't go away. Like, we broke up and she just won't go away.
I thought they were going to trade him. When they traded Julio, I thought, okay, they're trading Matt Ryan. They're going to blow it up, start young with Calvin Ridley and Pitts, right? They have
That's who Maddie Ice. He's that girl that you broke up with. She just won't go away. And not only will she not go away, she's sticking around. She ain't really that bad. She don't suck. I had Kyle
She's been
Pitts.
hitting the gym.
Yes.
And you're noticing, yeah.
I'm like, you look like you clearly been working out. All right. I before the season started, I had Kyle Pitts as my offensive rookie of the year. I think as of today,
he's starting to come around.
I think he leads all rookie. I think he leads all rookie tight ends in yards, and I'm liking what they're doing with him, implementing him in offense more. And that NFC South is going to be tough because those 2 teams, Tone, the Bucks and the Saints, I think those are the 2 teams that come out that division. I don't think Atlanta is going to come out of that division. Philadelphia is too young. You already talked about Detroit, and I think it's safe to say that we can eliminate Detroit and we can eliminate the Giants, who I can't believe that I got on the Giants bandwagon. I got on that bus, Tone, and it was too late. I couldn't get off. It was started rolling, and I tried to get off.
I won't rub it in. So basically, the only team you've eliminated every team except for one, just so you know. You're not going to tell me these guys are going to figure it out. Are you?
I can. You already know how I feel about Roquan Smith. You know how I feel about him. You know how I feel about that defense.
Linebackers in the game, if not the best.
You know how I feel about Roquan Smith, and you know how I feel about that defense in Chicago. If that Bears, Nagy is the one who, as of right now, you want to talk about somebody killing us? Nagy's sinking us. Let's call it what it is.
Can I? Nagy has called plays in 4 losses. He hasn't been the play caller in 3 wins.
Which says to me, I'm not a rocket scientist, but how about we stop letting him call the plays and let somebody else call the plays when we win? How about that?
You know what I think the most incredible thing about Matt Nagy? He has a book out. You can look it up. It's about leaving your ego behind.
Oh my God.
I think he should read his own book.
He probably should, Tone. He probably should. Yes.
So are you going to go out right now and say the Bears take that seventh and final playoff spot?
No, I'm not saying that, Tone. I can't. Because
you got to pick somebody.
I know I got to pick somebody. I got the Saints, and I can't say we can have this. Can we have this conversation in a week? No, we can't. So
you can check. We'll have this conversation again, and probably in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. We got 10 weeks left. We got time.
All right. So as of right now, I'm going to say that the Bears take that last spot. I'm going to say it.
You know what? This is why I love what we do. You're picking my Bears. I'm going to pick your 49ers. I say they turn it around and go on a run.
We're trash.
They turn it around and go on a run.
We can't run the football. We can't stop nobody.
They turn it around and they go on a run.
Okay.
49ers are
We'll
going to be the number 7 seed, just because I don't want to be predictable and say, of course, it's going to be the Bears. Okay. So we talked about a couple of guys. Let's start in this division, because we talked about Sam Darnold, and the Panthers are one of the teams that were rumored, but now it's not, rumored to be interested in Deshaun Watson. So this is just a yes or no. I'm going to throw out names and you tell me yes or no they get traded. Will Deshaun Watson be traded before the deadline?
Yes.
To Miami? Yes or no?
Yes. Carolina's out, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Carolina was in the mix, and then they were out. Okay. Will Odell Beckham be traded before the deadline?
No.
Okay. The rumor was Green Bay.
I did hear that. Yeah, I did hear that. Yes.
Odell and Devontae?
Yes.
With Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback?
Yes.
You want to talk about a resurgence of a wide receiver? There it is right there. So I'm gonna say nobody of significance actually gets traded before Tuesday. So no Deshaun Watson, no Odell, no, you're gonna see this, third string safety is gonna get moved out. I don't think there's gonna be not
for
one
third round pick, something like that.
Okay. And what about my Bears? So there's been a lot of rumors about Allen Robinson, who hasn't clicked with Fields for some reason. It seems like every time Fields tries to throw to him, it's a pick. Do you think Allen Robinson gets traded?
Before the season started, no, I don't, Tone. Before the season started, I had Allen Robinson as a top 10 wide receiver. 2 receptions last week, 16 yards. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on there.
It's not working there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of what the problem is there. He doesn't look sharp. His route running is different. Him and Justin Fields just don't look like they're on the same page. I'm trying to make sense of what it is. So, no, I still don't think he gets traded. Not yet, no.
All right. Is there, now just open, is there someone you think this player is going to get traded? It could be to a specific team or not, or just the fit isn't there anymore. They got to move on.
I don't see anybody right now that I'm thinking, okay, this dude is out. But I don't see anybody in particular right now.
All right. Now we're going to do our rapid fire picks. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and set the reminder so you can catch Fluent and Chill NFL edition every week. Also, don't forget we do NBA edition on Wednesday and live answering your questions, your calls on TikTok at 8 p.m. on Mondays. So let's start with the Thursday. Wow. Sometimes the Thursday nighters are just stinkers, and sometimes they are just the matchup of the week. We've got the 6-1 Packers against the 7-0 Cardinals. I'm going to let you pick first because I'm still thinking about who I'm taking in this game. Packers, or even though Carolina is almost a touchdown, a 6.5 point favorite. That's actually surprising considering now. Granted, that may have changed because every wide receiver on the Packers has COVID, so maybe it does make sense.
That's going to be a problem.
So who you
taking? You're looking at what's going on in Arizona. J.J. Watt is out for the season, so that's an interior defensive lineman that they don't have anymore. But that's not surprising because I think this is the third time in like 5 years he's had a season.
When they signed him, right? We said, I know that I said it's availability, and I don't think I said if they get him for 8 games, they'd be lucky. So they got him for 7. So
they got him almost half the season. I think that offense that Arizona has, man, with Murray being so dynamic, and it's in Arizona, in the dome. Even though Aaron Rodgers is great, he's been great against Arizona. Him not having Devontae Adams this week is going to be huge. That's a weapon that he needs. That's a guy that's not his safety. That's his guy that when Brady comes to the line of scrimmage, he's looking around. Where's Gronk? He's looking for 87. When Aaron Rodgers comes to the line of scrimmage, where's Devontae Adams? That's the first guy he's looking for. Okay, I'm good to go. Well, their offense may be a little bit discombobulated this week because of him not being in the lineup. So I'm gonna go with Arizona.
I'm gonna go. And I can't believe I'm doing this because I never picked the Packers. It's like I never picked the Bears to lose. I never picked the Packers to win. I'm going to go with the Packers upsetting, surprising, giving the Cardinals their first loss, which they're going to need. I think they're going to need the loss to really drive their playoff drive. So they lose to the Packers. Not only am I going to tell you that they're going to lose to the Packers, I'm going to tell you how they're going to lose to the Packers.
I'm listening.
Aaron Jones and Dillon are both going to rush for over 100 yards.
Oh, they're going to shove the ball down their throat.
Jones is going to have a huge day, but so is Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see a little bit of a resurgence. You're going to be like, Randall who? Randall Cobb?
What?
Wow. You're going to say, wow, he had a game.
Forgot he's still on the roster.
Those are going to be your three. Those are going to be your three kind of. Aaron Jones isn't going to surprise you. AJ Dillon, you're going to say, I knew he had it in him because he's kind of still he's become kind of their power back. And then Randall Cobb's going to have a big day. And they're going to upset the Cardinals in a surprisingly low scoring game. Based on those offenses,
21-17, something like that.
24, kind of mid 20s ish. Okay. Yeah, and you know what it's going to be. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers getting the ball at the end of the fourth quarter, and Mason Crosby kicking a field goal after he missed 2 or 3 earlier in the game. He'll win one. He'll hit one. And it's going to be it'll be a field goal game
in the dome. Unbelievable.
In the big toaster in Glendale. I love that stadium, by the way. I know everyone makes fun of it, but when I lived in Arizona, I loved it. I loved going out there. All right. You know what? I didn't realize. I guess I didn't look at the schedule really closely this week.
We got
our Niners and our Bears.
Yes, this is going on this weekend.
It's fluent versus chill
in
week 8 of the NFL. So your Niners, who you've said are out of the playoffs, and I've said are in. Against my Bears, who you've said are in the playoffs and I've said are out. San Francisco, 4-point favorites. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. I don't know what's going on in San Francisco.
We can't run the ball.
This game might get ugly.
We can't run the ball. Okay. Not only can we not run the ball, the Jimmy G with his reads are off and on. Our defense is all over the place. I think we were a 5-point favorite against Indianapolis. They came into San Francisco and stomped us in the rain. So I would not be surprised because, again, Tone, I can't say it to you enough. When I look at that Chicago defense, and you know how I feel about Roquan Smith now. Khalil Mack, his status is a little shaky this week. So if he doesn't play, I think we got a legit shot. If Khalil Mack doesn't play, I'm taking my Niners against y'all.
I'm never picking against my Bears.
Of course you're not.
I think this could be their get-right game in Soldier Field. All right. We'll go through these ones quickly. Bengals and Jets. Bengals.
Cincy.
Yeah, okay. Panthers and Falcons. I don't know. I say it's Falcons, but maybe it's not as simple as that because it's a divisional game, so maybe it's different.
I'm staying on the bandwagon, Tone. Carolina comes back this week.
Really?
Yes, I'm staying on the bandwagon.
Okay.
I'm staying on the bandwagon.
Staying on that. All right. Well, Dolphins and Bills. Dolphins will win this game, right?
Buffalo stomps them again.
Do you think the whole we're trading for Deshaun Watson one way or another is going to affect Tua and the Dolphins team? Because he's already said he feels. Yeah, he says I feel unwanted. But do you think it affects the play on the field?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah? Okay. Absolutely.
I think the Bills. I think the Bills stomp them in this one.
Yes, they shut them out the last time they played them. I don't see why they ain't gonna stomp them again.
Steelers and Browns.
I'm taking Cleveland in this game.
Only because Case Keenum's going to start. I'm taking Cleveland too. I'm taking Cleveland too.
That's it.
What do you think about the whole Mike Tomlin? You know, them saying, "Oh, he might take the USC job or this job or that job," and he's got the best job in football.
He might have. You can make that argument.
They've had 3 head coaches since 69 in their franchise history, 67, 69, whatever it was, right? They've had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. And unless you have 3 losing seasons, they don't fire you.
Not to mention, Tone, don't leave out the fact that those 2 dudes that you just said, they weren't fired. They walked away. Chuck Noll walked away. Cowher walked away. These guys are not fired. So with that being said, we're talking about a guy in Tomlin who's been there for 15 years. He's had 1 losing season in 15 years.
Did he have a losing season? Or was it 8? I thought it was 8-8.
8-8. I'm sorry. He's had 0 losing seasons in 15 years. Why would you leave? It's not even why would I leave. Why is my name even involved in this?
Right.
Fair enough. I can tell you why. And Tone, we already know what it is. It's because of who it is. It's Mike Tomlin. We're not bringing up, and like he said, we're not talking about Andy Reid. We're not talking about Joe Judge. We're not talking about Matt Nagy or anybody like that. We're talking about Tomlin. you can make the argument, Tone, that Tomlin has the best job in pro football.
Yeah.
You can make the argument. When I think about coaching jobs, when I think about first-class organizations, the Steelers come to mind. And why do I want to leave that to go to a discombobulated college program at USC? No, I don't want to do that.
Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to take over the USC job personally, just because I love Southern California.
Of course.
It'd be nice to move back. If anyone is listening, give my man, my good friend, Hugh Jackson, give him a call. He's a California native, grew up in the tough streets of LA. He would be a great head coach for USC because I know he'd give me a job. So let's make that happen. Hugh, I've already told Hugh. I want you to get that job because I'm sure you do.
I would pack up tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go. I said we're going. My kids are there. Let's do it. All right, Eagles and Lions.
I think Philly handles them.
Yeah, I think the Lions are on their way to a 0-6, 0-7. Oh no, maybe 1-16. They're gonna get one. I think they get one. If they go 0-17, that'll be the first team in NFL history to go 0-17.
How are you that bad, man? How are you that terrible?
I don't. We don't have time to go through the list of why Detroit's that bad. Titans and Colts. I think Titans just keep rolling, right?
I think Tennessee handles them. Yes, I do.
All right, Rams and Texans. This one might get ugly too. This might look like a NFL team playing a college team.
Yes, Los Angeles handles them.
Yeah.
It's any given Sunday, Tone. So we don't discount it, all right? Because I actually like Mills as a backup. Absolutely. Now,
yeah, no, I'm going through some of these. I'm just going through some of these just for the sake of time because we want to touch on some others. Chargers and Patriots.
Los Angeles, absolutely. They had a week off. They're healthy. They're ready to roll. So absolutely.
The Patriots get their first big signature win against. Listen, I know Bill Belichick beats up on rookies, and Herbert is in his second year. But I think he's going to treat him like a rookie quarterback, and you're going to be very surprised, and everyone's going to be like, "Wow, they're both that." I can't believe that happened.
I'm going to be surprised how the Chargers smoked them. That's how I'm going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised any other way.
I'll mark that one down.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Patriots Chargers next week. I can't even believe the Jags and Seahawks in Seattle. That used to be just a check it off as a win, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville went up there and beat them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Will
you go and say that? Will you pick them? Like I wouldn't be surprised. But will you pick
Jacksonville is going into Seattle and they beat them this weekend. I said it.
All right, Seattle shuts them out.
Okay.
I got contrarian. Washington. Will they ever get a name? Like you heard they had a short list and now it's all quiet again. Washington and the Broncos. The Washington football team.
I think
your football crush, the Denver Broncos.
I think they get back on track this week. Yes, I do. The Denver Broncos get back on track this week. Yes, they do.
I agree with you. The Bucks and Saints. Can the Saints keep up their dominance of the Bucks?
Yeah, I think they can. I absolutely think they can. I think that I would like for Sean Payton to open up the playbook a little bit more with Jameis. I know that you're being really conservative with him, but you can elongate the leash a little bit. You don't have to have him by the collar so much. Let him loose a little.
I'm gonna say, I can't even believe I'm about to say this because I agree with you. I think the Saints surprised the Bucks and beat them, and I think Jameis in that kind of revenge game goes out and throws a ton against that beat up secondary of the Bucks. I think it's a high scoring game. And I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Saints with the upset. The Cowboys, the Vikings, Sunday night, prime time. You know who always shows up in prime time? Not Kirk Cousins.
I can tell you who doesn't show up. I can tell you who shows up in prime time, but I can also tell you who does not, Tone. That's why I'm not picking Minnesota. Anytime it's Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, or the game of the week, I can tell you who does not show up. And that would be Kirk Cousins. So absolutely not.
Yeah, I think we're both on the Cowboys on that one. This could be a fun game to watch, though. And then the Monday Nighter, this is the get-right game. It's the get-right game. The Chiefs are going to fly. I thought last week against Tennessee was going to be the Chiefs' signature game where they win and they turn things around. I was wrong. However, the Giants is the kind of team that you can go in and just work out the kinks. You can get things right against the Giants. I think the Chiefs blow out. I think we see a Patrick Mahomes kind of he got his noggin scrambled a little bit last week, and I think it sets him right. It's like, remember those cartoons? I don't remember, like Bugs Bunny and that, where like they'd get hit on the head with a mallet and they'd like lose their memory, and then to get it back, they'd have to hit him again with the frying pan. Mm-hmm. That's what happened to Patrick Mahomes. He was somebody else, and he just got nonked on the head last week. He's like, oh, okay, I'm back. That's what I think.
I'm taking the Giants this week.
Wow.
I'm taking the Giants this week. I just don't like what Kansas City's doing. I don't like their run game. I don't like their run defense. I don't like their pass defense. I'm going with the Giants.
I'm very surprised. All right, so there you have it. Giants, I got the Chiefs. All right, we'll recap them next week. Again, don't forget, Mondays, TikTok, 8 p.m. live. Answer your questions, subscribe, do all that stuff. Sports Fluent, Chilltown. Oh, sorry, you're over here. I always point over here. Chilltown. People are like, why are you pointing over there? I'm like, I don't know. I like that basketball. Chilltown hoops. Until next week, he's going to do my favorite part.
Take it light. Take it.